Nobody sits you down in your 20s and explains what is actually happening with your money. Nobody tells you that the years between 22 and 30 are not just the beginning of your career, they are the beginning of a financial clock that is already running, right now, whether you are paying attention to it or not. And nobody explains that the single most powerful thing you can do with money during this entire decade costs less per day than your morning coffee, and that doing it consistently will make you a millionaire by the time you retire. What they do tell you is to enjoy your 20s, to not stress too much about money right now, to focus on your career and your experiences and figure out the rest later. And that advice, well-meaning, widely given, completely normal, is quietly one of the most expensive things most people ever hear. My name is Ken, and today I want to give you the conversation that most people in their 20s never get to have. Not vague encouragement to save more, not a list of generic tips you've already seen. A real, honest, specific roadmap for exactly how to save for retirement in your 20s, and what that roadmap actually builds if you follow it, including a number I'm going to show you later in this video that made me genuinely uncomfortable the first time I ran it. Because it shows exactly what waiting costs, and once you see it, you will not forget it. If this is the kind of content that changes how you think about your financial future, subscribe and hit that like button, and let's get into it. Let's start with the honest picture of where most people in their 20s actually stand financially, because the reality is more common than most people realize and more expensive than almost anyone understands. Most people in their 20s have a vague plan to start saving for retirement someday. They know they should. They've heard about 401ks and compound interest and the importance of starting early. The intention is genuinely there. But intention without action is just a story you tell yourself while the clock keeps running. And right now, according to the Federal Reserve, 54% of Americans have no dedicated retirement savings at all, more than half the country. Working, earning, living, and building nothing that will sustain them when the paychecks eventually stop. The most common reason people give for not starting in their 20s is that they don't have enough money to make it worth it. The student loans are too heavy, the rent is too high, the salary isn't there yet. They'll start when things are more stable, when there's more room in the budget. And that reasoning feels completely logical in the moment. It is also, mathematically, one of the most expensive decisions a person ever makes. And I want to show you exactly why, through the story of two people who started from the exact same place and ended up in completely different positions. Meet Alex and Jordan. Both 22 years old, both just landed their first real jobs earning $55,000 a year. Both have student debt, tight budgets, and a genuine intention to start investing, just at different times. Alex decides to start now. Not because the budget is comfortable, it isn't. Not because the student loans are gone, they're not. Alex starts because someone showed Alex the math, and once Alex saw it, waiting stopped feeling like an option. Alex sets up an automatic transfer of $200 a month into a retirement investment account, less than $7 a day, and lets it run. The automation means Alex never has to think about it again. The money moves on payday before Alex can spend it on anything else. Jordan has the same plan, just a different timeline. With $280 a month going to student loans and a new apartment to furnish, and a social life that costs real money, Jordan decides to wait until things settle. Maybe 25, definitely by 30. $200 a month at 22 seems too small to matter anyway. Jordan will make up for it later by investing more once the income is higher. Both of these people are doing what feels reasonable. Only one of them is making a decision they will be grateful for at 65. Now I want to show you a number. This is the number I promised at the beginning of this video, the one that changed how I think about everything. Alex invests $200 a month starting at 22. Jordan waits until 32 and then invests the exact same $200 a month. Both invest in a simple broad market index fund averaging 8% annual returns, the long-term real return after inflation of a broad stock market index fund. Both invest until retirement at 65. Alex retires with $894,989, nearly $900,000 from $200 a month. Jordan retires with $386,729. The gap between them is $508,260, over $500,000, created entirely by one decision: when to start. But here is the number that genuinely stopped me cold when I first calculated it. What if Alex stopped investing completely at 32 after just 10 years and never invested another single dollar for the rest of their life? Alex invested $200 a month for 10 years. That is $24,000 in total money actually contributed. Then Alex stopped and just let it sit. By 65, that $24,000, compounding untouched for 33 more years, grows to $463,807. Jordan invested $200 a month for 33 years straight. Jordan put in $79,200 in total contributions, more than 3 times what Alex invested, and Jordan ended up with $386,729. Alex put in $24,000 and retired with more money than Jordan, who put in $79,200. Not slightly more, $77,000 more, despite contributing for 23 fewer years, despite investing a third of the total dollars. That is what time does to money when you give it enough of it. That is why your 20s are not just a good time to start saving for retirement. They are the only time in your life when the math works at this level of power. Every single dollar you invest at 22 has 43 years to compound. That same dollar invested at 42 has only 23 years. Same dollar, same investment, completely different outcome because of 2 decades of compounding that the later dollar never gets back. And the cost of waiting even 1 year is larger than most people realize. The difference between starting at 22 versus starting at 23, just 12 months, on a $200 monthly investment, is nearly $71,000 in retirement wealth. $71,000 from 1 year of delay. From 12 months of telling yourself you'll get to it soon. Now let's talk about exactly how to do this, because understanding why matters is only useful if you know precisely what to do about it. Step 1. Start with your employer's 401k and capture every dollar of the match. If your employer offers a 401k and matches contributions, this is where your retirement saving begins. Always, without exception. An employer match is free money, a guaranteed instant return on your contribution that no investment in the financial system can compete with. On a $55,000 salary with a typical match of 50 cents on every dollar up to 6% of your salary, your employer will contribute $1,650 a year into your retirement account on top of your own contributions. That $1,650 a year invested over 40 years at 8% grows to over $427,000 from free money alone, from the match that most people in their 20s leave completely unclaimed because they haven't started contributing yet. The minimum contribution you make to your 401k should always be enough to capture every dollar of employer match available to you. If your company matches up to 6% of your salary, you contribute at least 6%. That is the floor. Everything else builds from there. Step 2. Open a Roth IRA and understand why it matters. A Roth IRA is a retirement account that you fund with money you've already paid taxes on. The money grows tax-free inside the account, meaning every dollar of investment growth, every dollar of compounding, every dollar of return is yours at retirement without paying a single cent of tax on it. For someone in their 20s, who is almost certainly in a lower tax bracket now than they will be later in their career, a Roth IRA is one of the most powerful financial tools available. The annual contribution limit for a Roth IRA in 2025 is $7,000. That works out to about $583 a month. If you can max it out, the math is extraordinary. $583 a month from age 22 to 65 at 8% average annual returns grows to over $2.6 million, tax-free. But you don't need to max it out immediately. Start with whatever you can manage, $50 a month, $100 a month. The amount matters far less than the account being open and the contributions being automatic. Step 3. Automate everything so willpower is never required. This is the step that most people underestimate, and it is actually the most important one on this entire list. The enemy of consistent investing is not bad intentions. It is the gap between intention and action, the moment every month where the money is sitting in your account available to spend, and you have to actively choose to move it somewhere it can't be touched. That gap is where most people's retirement savings disappear. Automation closes that gap completely. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your Roth IRA on the day your paycheck arrives. Increase your 401k contribution directly in your employer's payroll system so the money never enters your checking account at all. Once these automations are running, your retirement savings happen before you make a single spending decision. The money is gone before you see it, and what remains in your account is what you have to live on, which your lifestyle will naturally adjust to accommodate. This is how $200 a month becomes permanent, not through discipline or willpower or monthly reminders to yourself, through a system that removes the decision entirely. Step 4. Choose simple investments and resist the urge to complicate it. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they finally start investing in their 20s is spending enormous amounts of energy trying to pick the right stocks, time the market, find the next big opportunity, or build a sophisticated portfolio strategy. All of that energy is misdirected, because for someone in their 20s, investing for retirement that is 40 years away, simplicity massively outperforms complexity. A single broad market index fund, one that tracks the entire US stock market or the S&P 500, is all you need. These funds have historically averaged around 10% nominal annual returns, or approximately 8% after inflation, over long periods. They are cheap to own, require zero active management, and outperform the vast majority of actively managed funds over long time horizons. You don't need to find the next Apple. You don't need to time the market. You need to own the entire market and let it compound over decades. That is the strategy. It is boring. It works. Step 5. Never stop for a market crash. At some point in your investing life, probably multiple points, the market will drop significantly. Your portfolio will lose value. The news will be alarming. Every instinct you have will tell you to do something, to sell before it gets worse, to pause contributions until things stabilize, to wait for the bottom before buying more. All of those instincts are wrong. Not slightly wrong, expensively wrong. The market has recovered from every single crash in its history, every recession, every financial crisis, every global disruption. The investors who stayed the course and kept contributing through all of it captured every dollar of the recovery. The investors who panicked and sold or paused locked in their losses and missed the rebound. For someone in their 20s investing for retirement decades away, a market crash is not a threat. It is a sale. Every dollar you contribute during a market downturn buys more shares at lower prices. Shares that will be worth significantly more when the market recovers, as it always has. Leave it alone. Keep contributing. Let time do its work. Step 6. Increase your contribution every time your income goes up. This is where the path from $200 a month to $500 a month to $1,000 a month actually happens. Not through a single dramatic decision, but through a consistent, automatic response to every income increase. Every time you get a raise or a promotion or move to a higher-paying job, take at least half of the after-tax increase and immediately redirect it to your retirement accounts before your lifestyle can absorb it. This is how someone who starts at $200 a month in their early 20s ends up contributing $500 a month by their late 20s without it ever feeling like a sacrifice. The lifestyle never expanded to claim the raise. The retirement account captured it instead, and $500 a month from age 22 to 65 at 8% annual returns builds $2,237,472, over $2 million. From a salary that started at $55,000 and grew naturally over a career. No lottery, no inheritance, no brilliant investment strategy. Just consistent contributions started early, increased gradually, and left alone long enough for compounding to do what compounding does. Let me bring Alex and Jordan back one more time, because I want to close their story in a way that feels honest rather than just motivating. Jordan's situation at 32 is not hopeless. Starting at 32 instead of 22 doesn't mean a comfortable retirement is out of reach. It means the path requires more intentionality and more contribution intensity to compensate for the lost decade of compounding. If Jordan starts at 32 and contributes $400 a month instead of $200, the outcome improves significantly. If Jordan captures the full employer match and opens a Roth IRA simultaneously, the gap between Alex and Jordan narrows in a meaningful way. The point of their story is not to make anyone who didn't start in their 20s feel like the opportunity is gone. The point is to show, with real numbers, honestly calculated, what starting early actually produces. So that if you're in your 20s right now, you understand exactly what you have access to that you will never have access to again. And if you're past your 20s, you understand that today is still the earliest possible starting point from this moment forward. Because here is the truth that gets buried under all the complexity and jargon and noise around retirement saving. It is not complicated. It does not require financial expertise or a sophisticated strategy or a large income or perfect timing. It requires one thing: starting. Putting a specific amount of money into a retirement account automatically every month and leaving it there. The amount can be small. The strategy can be simple. The timeline just needs to be as long as possible. Every month you wait is a month the clock runs without you. Every month you contribute is a month that compounds into every month that follows. The difference between Alex and Jordan was not talent or income or luck. It was one decision, made at 22, to start before everything felt perfectly ready. Nothing will ever feel perfectly ready. The student loans will always feel heavy. The budget will always feel tight. Life will always have a reason to wait one more month. The people who retire as millionaires are not the ones who waited until everything was in order. They are the ones who started while everything was still messy and let time turn small, consistent contributions into something that changed their entire financial future. You know what to do. The only question is whether you start today or add it to the list of things you'll get to later. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what your 20s can actually build, hit that like button right now and subscribe to Ken Invests. We release new videos every week showing you the financial truths that most people figure out too late. You watching this in your 20s, or sharing it with someone who is, might be one of the most valuable financial decisions you make this year. Stick around because what we cover next is just as important as what you heard today. Everything in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice.